Hey there, YouTube. It's me, Hens, and I'm back here with Salty Crab. Like I said, I have I don't have enough time to sift through a 3-hour live stream of Casey and Beck and a couple of other people and decipher what is good and not. So we're gonna trust Salty did the work. She says this is the most shocking moments of the Beck and Casey interview. So let's go over it. And then tomorrow, I will be going through that 3-hour Amberlynn live stream that she did last night because I woke up after falling asleep and it was 15 minutes after she had already started. And all I did was boot up my laptop, hit record, and then if I remembered that there were commercials and stuff, I hit skip. Otherwise, the commercials played, and so whatever is happening behind the commercial, I don't know what happened.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my
Hey,
channel. And
Salty.
today we are going to be discussing what happened last night on episode 1 of the Lukewarm Tea podcast. In case you're unaware of what the podcast is,
It would be wild if episode 2 was Crystal.
it is a group effort from 3 people. One of those people is Amberlynn's ex, Casey, and the other 2 are what seem to be very lovely people named Nerfy and Jade, but not
They're both reaction channels, as far as I'm aware.
that Jade, not Amberlynn's ex Jade. So they decided to start a podcast together, and it's going to cover a lot of different topics. But the very first episode, they decided to interview Beck, which I'm sure made Amberlynn oh so happy to hear that 2 of her exes were getting together to share their experiences, not only with each other, but with thousands of people. And the highest that I saw their chat get, the number of viewers get, was over 5,000 people. So congrats to them. I listened all the way through episode 1. I feel like it was a smashing success. It was super interesting the whole way through. The time just flew by. And while the whole thing was super interesting, I highly recommend you go and listen to the whole.
I will probably end up listening to most of it, but I've heard varying opinions on whether it was consistently interesting, so there's that. Just for a frame of reference. And Amberlynn hates, I bet she's like absolutely losing it because one thing that manipulators hate is that there's multiple people to compare their history of how they were treated. And so when you see those things lining up, you see that that's a pattern of behavior, not just, oh, actions that Amberlynn did in the moment, which is how she tried to excuse it when she said, oh, I did abusive and manipulative things to Beck, not I was abusive to Beck. So that's the major difference. It's disowning and, if you want to call it, dissociating your actions from your person. And that's not fair to the person who's the victim. And that's what Amberlynn wants to gloss over.
Whole thing. I just wanted to pick out 10 of the moments that stood out to me the most. So let's just get into it. Ready? Let's go. So the first moment came when one of the hosts, their name is Jade, they were talking about Amberlynn and saying how they have always thought that if Amberlynn was a different body size, there is a chance that she could very well be dangerous. And something about mentioning Amberlynn's body size triggered a memory for Beck. So they told us this story.
I definitely know that she would be because she always would tell me if I was my actual weight, I would be in California and I wouldn't be talking to any of you guys and I wouldn't be talking to I would never talk to anybody my size.
Were
And
you
so
Wow.
together at this time?
yeah,
What the hell? What the hell? That's so weird because Amberlynn, you can be overweight and people will still like you in California. The problem is you have a shitty attitude and you're disrespectful as fuck of people's basic existence. So you would definitely not fit in the Bay Area. So you may want to take yourself to LA and then you'll find out how much you don't fit in there either.
and I was like, so
Oh
basically
my
you
Whoa.
would be a piece
God.
of garbage. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, so you'd be
Wow.
shallow. And she's like, yeah.
So, number one,
No, Amberlynn's not shallow. She's vapid. She has no interest in anything that's beyond the surface level unless it's self serving. She's vapid.
that's just obviously an incredibly rude thing to say. Basically, that she's only with Beck and even associates herself with Beck because of her size. If she was smaller, she would have nothing to do with Beck.
Meanwhile, Destiny probably had a higher BMI than Beck. ever did, because Destiny is so short but still gained so much weight with Amber. And Beck only gained a smaller proportion of weight and was taller.
And she definitely wouldn't be living in Kentucky. And
But it didn't matter to Amber because she was in love.
like they pointed out, this is someone that Amberlynn was in a relationship with. But I can totally like hear her saying those words. It's definitely something that fits her personality and how she thinks about people. Now, the next moment that we're going to listen to, it really surprised me. I don't know why, but it kind of shocked me.
Really?
Murphy asks Beck, what was the moment that they realized all the feelings, all the romantic feelings that they had for Amber were gone?
It took a really long time for them to fully develop in the first place. Like, I liked her. She kinda pushed me into the relationship, because
Beck had said that before, that they felt pressured into the relationship because Amber was like, "Oh, I'm going to stop talking to you then if you don't want to commit." Just like how she did with Casey about sending nudes when he was underage. Like, it's crazy. And it's all self serving.
I wasn't exactly there, but she was like, "Well, I've got people in mind to date me." And I'm like, "Well, I don't
Yep.
wanna lose you yet, so I guess we'll start dating." So then after that, it took me a while to come around and get lovey-dovey and get close because I had my guard up anyway from past experiences. And then lovey-dovey and get close because I had my guard up anyway from past experiences. And then just like when I thought I was gonna lose her, she just barreled right through, pushed me into the relationship. So my feelings came later. But then once I started having to constantly do everything, everything by myself is whenever my feelings just sort of left. And I just felt like I was taking care of a friend.
Yeah, you're not in a relationship because a relationship is mutual.
Now, the reason why what Beck said shocked me so much is that looking back on when they and Amberlynn describe their first date and all of that, Amberlynn makes this huge deal out of how Beck didn't try to hold her hand, didn't try to put their arm around her, didn't try to kiss her, nothing. And Beck
Amberlynn is into the expressions of affection in the initial stages because she wants you to show other people that you're together. She wants you to prove to her that you love her by showing her off like she's a catch, like she's a trophy wife, basically. It's what she fantasizes herself to be because she thinks that she is a catch, financially at least. And she knows that most people can't provide that level of financial security, but it's not actual financial security for her partners because she will threaten to take it away at a moment's notice.
Beck says, well, I'm old fashioned and I move slowly. And now we're finding out that it was also because they did not have romantic feelings towards Amber. And I do remember in the past, Beck at the time kind of laughing about how Amber told them, listen, I have a whole line of people waiting in my DMs. If you're not into me, let me know so I can move on. And here Beck is saying she threatened me with that. And we had a good friendship going and a connection. And I didn't want to lose that. So I just agreed to be in a relationship with her. And it shouldn't.
And people should remember to be kind to Beck in that way because there's a lot of people, a lot of women who get forced into relationships because they don't want to turn down a guy, or they go on dates because they don't want to say no and look like a bitch. And it happens across relationships. It doesn't matter if it's straight or otherwise.
Surprised me, but it did. I can't imagine being put into a position like that. Like, we can't just be friends. You have to either date me or see ya. Now, the topic of control came up, and Jade asked Beck if Amber ever tried to control them and how often. And here's what Beck had to say.
It happened all the time, especially if we were like vlogging or doing like a sit down video. Like there was a lot of pausing and being like, okay, so don't say this. You can say this. And then there would be other times where she's just like, why don't you try to say it more peppy? Why can't you act like you're actually having a good time? And it's like, because I've told you over and over, time and time again, I just really don't want to do these things. And she's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, but you're my employee. So
What?
you're
Wow.
gonna be
Oh,
in time again. I just really don't want to do these things. And she's like, okay, yeah, but you're my employee. So
Yeah, no. And it's not even a matter that that was the relationship that Amberlynn wants to claim. That's literally what a manipulator takes advantage of. They will say, "Oh, well, you owe me an obligation that we both agreed upon." But then they'll change the terms of that agreement to always suit themselves. Or if you say their words back to them, that they've used before to deflect. Oh, why are you being so combative? Why don't you just want to listen?
What?
You're gonna be
Oh
in these
my
videos.
god.
So whenever you
And obviously, Beck expressing disinterest in being in the videos, it was immaterial to Amber because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to her what anybody else wants or what anything wants. You see her how she picks up animals, especially in the retro reactions, the way she handled kittens and puppies. It's always for her to be able to have what she wants. It's like a 6-year-old, except 6-year-olds have better manners.
see me vlogging, I never wanted to do that.
I mean, wow, I don't even know what to say to that. So every time you go back and watch one of Amberlynn's older vlogs, if you see Beck holding the camera, they didn't want to do that. Amberlynn was making them do that. And listening to Beck describe how Amber would coach them on how to say things or sound happier, it just reminds me of, whenever you've seen like behind the scenes of the family vloggers or the mommy vloggers,
It was, I was going to say, it reminds me of Toddlers and Tiaras.
especially that one in particular that was accidentally uploaded to YouTube where the mom, I shouldn't even
Oh
laugh.
yeah,
It's
she
like
was trying
super
to like
disturbing
coach
where the
him.
mom is sitting with her son and trying to get a good thumbnail. And she's like,
So
can
fucking
you just
weird.
cry more? Can you look at the camera? Okay, now look at me. And that's what it reminds me of hearing Beck talk about what they went through with Amberlynn and feeling like they had no choice but to do this. Amber basically was saying, I control the money. You're my employee. You're going to do what I tell you to do. So next, Beck was asked, how did the sort of deprogramming happen? How did you come out of the fog of what you thought of Amberlynn and what your relationship was like to actually learning the truth? And Beck tells us this.
I'm gonna guess it was from being exposed to people outside of the situation and just seeing and talking to them about other things not related to Amber.
Also started like coming across tea channels and videos of like Amber being mean to Beck for 20 minutes straight.
Uh,
And I would watch these things and I
that
would
makes
watch
sense.
these react channels that I was not allowed to watch while I was with her.
You weren't allowed to watch them?
No.
Oh hell
Oh
no.
my god.
Oh.
Because then Beck would have some sense of context, like I was saying. And so it wasn't that they were necessarily talking to somebody, they were hearing the things that other people think as a community outside of the situation. And that's always how you catch a manipulator slash abuser. Because outside of the context, you'll be able to see very clearly them pulling the strings, them being in control of certain levers, certain mechanisms of power within a dynamic, and that they will express that behind the scenes to the partner. And then it's visible what the effects are because you can see changes as they occur over time.
Oh.
So she made sure that you did not watch like Zachary Michael or any of them.
Right. Yeah, no. Like whenever she would watch it, she would just watch it by herself on her laptop. She wouldn't have me watch or anything. No. She didn't
Did
want
you
me to
ever
see.
try?
Um I knew if I would try, she would know because she kept tabs on my phone all the time.
Oh my
What?
god, the control. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Right? So she would monitor your phone so you could not watch any kind of reaction channel because she would see it because she'd go into like your YouTube and she'd
Oh
monitor
yeah.
your text messages and stuff.
Oh yeah, she would go through everything.
Oh my
She
god,
knew
I
everything.
can't.
God damn.
And I couldn't
Sounds like Alexis was telling the truth on that part.
go through none of her stuff
Of
because
course.
she said she had private stuff on there in her private journal that she wrote in every day. And I was never allowed to see what was in that journal. Never.
And I think we all know the reason why Amber wouldn't.
Because Amberlynn likes to come up with little stories in her journals, little plot lines, little things she wants to do or has done and thinks she can get away with again. It's her little plot book, the thing that she keeps to keep track of all of the things she tells Beck and the audience because she was telling them different things and manipulating that double edge of language. That's what she does.
Let Beck watch the reaction channels because she knew that that would reveal to Beck the way that they were being portrayed in the vlogs. Beck even
Precisely.
says in this interview that
Precisely.
they never watched Amberlynn's videos back. So if they never saw her videos, and
Well,
they
why
never
would they? They didn't want to be in them. They didn't want to film them. They didn't want to fucking watch it. It makes so much sense. I wouldn't watch that shit.
got
And
to
I
watch,
did. I never watched Amber directly. I only watched her through reaction channels until I started doing videos.
reaction channels, they never knew the shit that Amberlynn was pulling. The way that
Mm-hmm.
she would show really bad angles of Beck, the way that she would reveal personal, private details about Beck and their family, the way that she would say little snide comments here and there that Beck
Mm-hmm.
didn't hear, all of these things. And I just think it's funny how Amberlynn hates reaction channels so bad.
It's exactly what I said. It's controlling all those mechanisms around the situation, but it's all within a context. And so if you're outside of that context, it's like you're watching a little snow globe. You're watching everything happen.
And it turns out that the reaction channels are what made Beck see the light and see just how terribly that they were treated by Amber. And let's not forget the fact that Beck revealed Amberlynn would go through their phone, looking through
Mm-hmm.
their text messages, looking through their
YouTube history.
and God only knows what else. But yet they were never allowed to go near Amberlynn's phone. Now, in this next moment that we are about to watch, Casey drops a bomb on everyone and reveals
Let's go, Casey.
something that he's never shared before.
And it was just, and then she admitted to, I don't think I ever said this.
Tell us.
She admitted to me with text messaging and everything like that, that she cheated on me with a girl in the hot tub. Like she was in the hot tub and she made out with, her school buddy. Like not.
I think Amber told that story on her channel. She said that she had cheated on Casey twice. Once with that girl, I believe, who she said that she made out with, and then once with Crystal when Crystal came to visit before she had conned the family completely into flying her to Virginia from Arizona and moving her in and giving her money for food and living and stuff and letting her be a part of the family for free, for nothing, not going to school, not going to work. Amberlynn was a freeloader fully 100% of the time.
Once, a few times, and she told me over text message. Yet, if I showed any kind of getting close with anyone at school, she would get on my ass.
Now, not only was this a very surprising thing to hear because we know that Amberlynn has claimed in the past that she's never cheated on anyone, it also made me think of this moment that was in a Q&A Amberlynn did with Destiny, which would have just been just a few years after dating Casey.
Where is the wildest place you have had sex?
Together?
Yeah, does that mean?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about like no past stuff.
Together we haven't had any place except for like a bed.
Yeah, we've only done it on the bed, huh? We've always only done it on beds. I have a dream though, hot tub dream. We don't need to discuss that hot tub
Ew.
dream.
Yeah, so it sounds like that
Ew.
hot tub dream wasn't just something that she came up with out of thin air. She had
Yeah.
had previous experience doing some stuff in a hot tub. So later on in
Mhm.
the interview, the subject of Amber living in foster homes came up, and the exes were being asked what they had been told about Amber's
Ooh,
experience
this should be good.
living in different foster homes. And
Let's
it
go.
was during this discussion that Amberlynn got busted in a lie.
Let's
So
go.
I don't know how many foster homes she went into. All I know is the one that she stayed at when I met her, and the one that she ended up aging out of. But she's told me she's went to a lot of foster homes, and I don't, I don't have proof whether she did or she didn't.
Yeah.
But I know that from an early age she did start to go because of her parents. But I know more so about the one that she remained at until she aged out, until she moved to Oklahoma.
And that's the
Right, and that's the one with the foster mom who just passed away.
one that like built her rooms and paid for her phone and took her to
Yeah.
Disney World and stuff, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, took her to Disney World. She told me that she had to stay home in the garage while the house got defogged.
What? Amberlynn said she went to well, that's what Amberlynn said, that she had been to Disney World like twice because of those people.
While they went to Disney World.
No.
What the hell?
No.
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 No,
Oh,
never have I ever heard that.
Oh, that's what
No.
she told me.
So, for whatever reason, Amberlynn decided to lie to Beck about not getting to go to Disney
What the
World.
fuck?
Who knows what the reason was? I don't know if it was she was trying to make herself sound like more of a victim. Like everyone in the family got to go and I had to stay home and
That's
stay in the
probably what it
garage.
was.
Maybe she wanted to make up her own Amberella story. Like everyone got to go to the ball, but
Amberella.
her. She had to stay home with the mice and clean the house. So the next moment that we're going to listen to, I found pretty disturbing. Casey talks about a time that Amberlynn got so mad at him that she did something that really crossed the line.
But yeah, it was just like she tried. She would try, like I said, with the whole like getting my phone while I was getting ready for school, and then because I used to role play, back on MySpace. And I was role playing with somebody, and I didn't know she was looking over my shoulder, and I was like, doing a message back, and she got very upset because it got a little, the role play was like the characters were getting together, right? She got so mad I didn't know she was reading over my shoulder. She took my phone from my hand and threw it against the wall, and it broke.
Oh,
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Now, let's not forget that at the time when Casey and Amberlynn dated, Casey was younger than Amberlynn.
And mom, single mother, was fully allowing Amberlynn to squat in their 1-bedroom apartment. Be so fucking for real. Like, oh my gosh. And was given the option to go to school or go to work, and she chose school. Amberlynn wasn't even bringing in a fucking cent into the house.
And he was a teenager. He said that they met when he was 15 and they were together for a few years. So just imagine being young and I think he said it was his first real relationship, and your partner gets so mad at you that they take the phone out of your hands and throw it against the wall and
That's
break it. I'm sure
terrifying.
that was incredibly scary for him. So the next moment that I want to watch with you is when Beck was
And Amber was still mobile back then. Amber was smaller than she's ever been on her channel. She was only probably like 300 pounds.
asked what
So
personality
I know, only 300 pounds at 5'2", but she could still move. She could still run around probably for a little bit.
quality did Amberlynn have that you hated the most? Which sounds like a pretty tough question because I could think of like a million. But Beck was able to narrow it down to one thing, and I'm sure you won't be surprised when you hear their answer.
hated that she had to make everything about her, no matter what the situation. Everything had to revolve around her. Everything, even if it was like something going on in my family's. Oh, we got to make sure that there's a spot for her somewhere that's
Hmm.
comfortable. She doesn't like that kind of music. Can we play this kind of music? That sort of thing.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah.
You know, everything had to revolve around what Amber wanted to do.
I, I'm so sorry. Can I expand upon that a little bit? When you said like if she doesn't like this kind of music, can we play this kind of music? Is that like in the car, at parties? Like I don't
Like
understand.
it had happened. Like it always happened in the car. Like 9 times out of 10, it was her music being played.
And that makes sense for Crystal's car too, because they would always be playing Amber's iPod/iPhone. So it was never what Crystal wanted to listen to when she was driving her car.
Played every now and then. She
Same for Destiny.
would let me play mine, but it was usually hers being
But
played.
they listened more to the radio then, anyways.
But yeah, like at get-togethers and stuff, she always wanted to be the one in control of the music we were listening to, the games we were playing. Like
Mm-hmm.
she had to
Makes sense.
make all the choices.
And we actually saw that with one of the Halloween parties that Amberlynn showed us her planning for. She was the one who was making all the games. She was also the one who decided what prizes to give out. When the others were getting the decorations up and getting the party ready, Amberlynn had to come through and comment on everything they did and what it looked like and if it was
It's Supervisor Lynn. Didn't you know? If it's a project, she's the manager.
up to her standards or not. And I'm sure that if you played that clip for Amberlynn, she would probably say, well, what's the big deal? Yeah, we listen to my music 99% of the time. What's the big deal? She would think nothing of that. It's so ingrained in her head that she is the important one. She is the one who should make the decisions, and everyone needs to just fall in line. And I'm sure not much has changed since those
Yeah, and any challenge is a challenge to her ego and her utter existence.
days. Now, after that, Casey was asked the same question, and his answer I found incredibly disturbing.
She was always like making friends online that were at least 4 to 5, almost 8 years older than me, and they were always like couples.
What?
What?
Oh, I never said this.
Wait, what?
What? No. What did you just say?
I said she was
What?
always making friends online, like Moco Space and whatnot,
Uh huh.
and they were at least like 4 to 5, sometimes 6 to 8 years older than me.
How old were you when this happened, Casey? If you don't mind me asking, you can tell me to shut the hell up. But how old were you when this happened?
When it started happening, 16, 17.
Oh my god.
And she was doing what? Making friends with couples on Mocha Space?
Yeah, yeah. So
What is
one time,
this? What is Mocha Space? Tell me what this is. Is this like a couples dating site or something?
the couple lived across the street from us.
What the fuck?
We could see their apartment, and they could see ours.
What?
So what would happen?
Like
Well, yeah,
Nothing.
were there
They eventually,
expectations?
no. Eventually, they saw her like she couldn't like hide the mask forever, and they didn't want to talk to her anymore. And a
Right.
lot of them, like when I would sometimes be allowed to talk to them, or I talked to them, they started liking me more because I wasn't. I was a kid. God, I can't.
What the
This
fuck?
I can't believe I got into all that as a child. But Like,
Wait, so was she trying to get
Like,
partners for you
yeah,
I
all?
don't
like
know. I don't know. She just wanted to
Lincoln.
make friends. I guess she wanted to make friends that were, lesbian like her, but she never
Ew.
met up with any of them. The only one was Crystal. I forgot how, like,
That is so what? She met Crystal on the same place? Now that is fucking weird. No, she wanted something more than just friends. Amberlynn wanted a little community of what she wants to call lesbians, but that's not what that was. That's not what that was.
This
yeah, the
explains
only one's
Libby
Crystal.
so fucking
Jesus
much right now.
Christ.
I'm
But
sorry.
she would make friends. Like, there was a few that were like closer to my age, but all of them were adults. Like, none of them were teenagers like me. All
But you were a teenager and roping in adults into being into a community with you where adult stuff will happen because they're all adults and they don't normally necessarily observe those limitations around people, and they would have to be conscious that you are the only one who's a minor. Like, this is literally the Libby situation. This is pre-Libby Libby.
all of them were adults. But Amber was also an adult, but she would make these friends, like these couple friends, and
This is
we
weird.
never hung out with them or nothing like that. But like, a lot of them stopped talking to her because she became too much or too demanding and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or they
Yeah.
started liking me more.
That whole story just gave me the creeps the whole time I was listening to Casey talk about that and picturing him as a teenager and Amberlynn being like, "Oh, I made some friends I want to introduce you to." And the
Yeah,
friends are
that's
all
freaking
adults,
weird.
a lot older than
It's
Casey,
weird.
and they're all couples. I mean, I don't want to speculate on what Amberlynn's.
No, it's weird. It's weird. Because even if Casey was a lesbian at the point, that doesn't make sense. They're a teenager. That's inappropriate.
Intentions were there, but even if
Especially as their partner who's already older, and it's weird how they are moving in and reliant on a child's family.
it was simply just to make friends, it's still super inappropriate. And she was putting Casey in a really messed up situation, almost possibly dangerous.
It was dangerous because she didn't have the ability to protect Casey. If anything happened, she would just leave it to him. It would be like, "Oh, well, you got yourself into this situation." I can hear her saying the words.
Situation. So this last moment, just to end on like a lighter note, Nerfy asked Beck if Amberlynn ever used her mental health as an excuse to get out of doing things, but
Hell
then
yeah.
be totally quote unquote fine after. Say like, "Oh, I can't help you right now. My depression is really bad," and then an hour later, be up out of the bed and be just fine. And Beck tells one of my favorite Amberlynn stories ever.
Yes, all the time. To help with anything. She was too depressed. She couldn't get out of the bed. There was this one time whenever I had a lot of groceries to carry in, and I'd asked her to come out and help me, but she said that she thought she saw a ghost in the hallway and was too scared to come help me. So I had to carry
What?
it all in by myself.
Oh
She
my
didn't even
god.
believe in ghosts at that time.
If y'all could hear the way that
Oh
I
my
howled
god.
listening to that story about Amberlynn being so
Jesus
lazy that she
Christ. What the
used the
fuck,
excuse that, "Oh, I
Amber?
can't help you. I saw a ghost in the hallway." And Beck just sounds so offended, like she didn't even believe in ghosts.
I know. Well, Beck does the ghost hunting and stuff like that. So, of course, Beck takes it seriously, at least to some extent. And Amber Lynn is just like this person who shits over any kind of belief that she doesn't like or that doesn't measure up to her snuff, which is nothing because she's never achieved anything to be able to measure anybody else. So it's just ludicrous.
That whole part, that just cracked me up. But like I said before, the whole interview was super well done, super, I don't want to say entertaining because, there were a lot of messed up stories told, but it was very informative. And I love the fact that Beck and Casey were able to get together, kind of
I like
compare
that.
notes with each other and
Hmm.
tell each other stories that sound like the other one didn't know. And I hope that they found some healing through doing that. And
I think so. I think they did, and I hope so. Because honestly, when you have these multiple points of articulation and you can triangulate off of them, you can figure out more of the truth. You can figure out more of what Amberlynn's motivation was for lying, one, and two, why she lies about certain things.
the host actually said that they had a ton more questions and that they would probably do a part 2 and maybe even more to that interview. So definitely go check out their channel. It's Lukewarm
Okie
Tea.
dokie.
Make sure you subscribe, you turn on your notifications so that you can see the next time they go live. And if you missed last night's interview, definitely go check it out. There was so much more that I couldn't fit into this video that you need to hear. But I hope you enjoyed watching these clips with me. If you did, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to leave me a comment down below.
Thank you, Salty. And leave a like, subscribe, and leave a like on Salty Crab's video. Give her a watch on her channel, and watch Lukewarm Tea on their channel, and leave a like as well. And leave a crab, a lobster, or a shrimp, since it is a salty crab reaction. Bye.